I never expected to uncover heartbreaking fraud in my company with just one email. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. It all started with a simple notification. My heart raced as I stared at my screen, the words pulsating like a heartbeat. Suspicious activity detected. My fingers trembled over the keyboard. What did that mean? I felt a tightness in my chest, an icy grip of fear. In that moment, I was drowning in uncertainty. My name is Clara. Just a year ago, I was on top of the world, managing a thriving tech firm. I had a team I loved, friends I trusted, and a future I was ready to conquer. But the sweet taste of success was now tainted with doubt. I clicked open the email, the bright screen illuminating my worried face. Each word brought more dread. Documents were missing, transactions unaccounted for. I could hear the sudden silence of my office, the absence of laughter and the soft hum of work. My best friend, Mia, had been my right hand throughout this journey, and now I feared what the truth could mean for us. I glanced around. Office decorations felt foreign. The laughter once echoing off the walls now replaced with the chatter of uncertainty. We were like a family, but what would happen with this revelation? Would I be left to pick up the pieces? I plunged deeper into the files, eyes scanning furiously. My breath quickened. Suddenly, Mia's shadow fell over me. Clara, are you all right? Her anxious eyes mirrored my own. The weight of what I might discover hung heavy between us. What if it was someone close? With each click, my heart seemed to sink further. I imagined whispers circling through the office, doubts growing like weeds. What if I uncovered something dark? A betrayal lurking in the shadows? Time slipped away as adrenaline fueled my next move. I forwarded everything to a secure email, my hands shaking, mind racing. Then, a notification popped up on my screen, email sent. But then I hesitated. What if I was too late? What if I unleashed something I couldn't control? The silence enveloped me once more, louder than any voice could be. As the clock ticked away, I felt the weight of my decisions pressing down like a relentless storm cloud. Something was off. I could feel it in my bones. An urgent feeling gnawed at me, like half-formed words waiting to spill out. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text from Mia. Clara, I think we need to talk. My breath hitched as I read those words again. Talk. Was she aware of something? A cold chill ran down my spine. The world around me faded. Would I find hope, or would I uncover a betrayal that would break everything I hold dear? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow through the glass of my office window as I sat there, frozen in place. My heart was racing, and the weight of Mia's text hung heavily in the air. We need to talk. The words flashed through my mind over and over, gnawing at my insides. What could she possibly mean? Gathering my courage, I replied, I'm in my office. Come in. Each second felt like an eternity as I anxiously stared at the door, my thoughts spiraling into darkness, a scene in which trust crumbled beneath the weight of suspicion. When Mia finally entered, I felt both relief and fear. She wore a shadow of concern on her face, one I hadn't seen before. Clara, she started, but trailed off, her eyes darting around as if searching for words that evaded her. Look, Mia, I interrupted, desperate for clarity, I found something strange in the accounts. I sent everything to a secure email, but I don't know what it means yet. My voice trembled, and I could see more uncertainty creep into her expression. She stepped closer, biting her lip. You have to know, I overheard some conversations. There's talk among the team, things about costs being manipulated. I didn't believe it at first, but now her voice broke, and I could see the fear in her eyes. Who? I could barely whisper the question. I refused to believe one of our own could be the source of this betrayal, yet part of me was already preparing for the worst. Mia shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. I don't know. I should have said something sooner, but I didn't want to believe it. Clara, we've built everything together. I couldn't bear the thought of losing that. Her voice quivered as she wiped away a tear that I closed my eyes, trying to calm the storm brewing inside me. We can get through this, we just need to find out the truth. But a nagging thought tugged at my heart. If someone was sabotaging everything we worked for, who could I truly trust? Before she could respond, my phone buzzed again, startling me. It was an alert from our financial software. Unusual transactions flagged in account. Anxiety churned within me as I clicked on the notification, deepening the pit in my stomach. Mia leaned over my shoulder to read the screen. Clara, can't we just go to John? He'll know how to handle it. I wanted to scream that I couldn't trust anyone, but she was right. I needed support. What if he's involved? My voice was barely a whisper, laden with betrayal. What if he's not? She countered, her tone firming. We've built a good company, we can't let fear control us. Please, let's talk to him. Reluctantly, I nodded, my heart racing with every passing second. Maybe she was right. Maybe trust was the path to clarity. But as we made our way to John's office, I couldn't shake the feeling that vulnerability in this moment felt more like a ticking time bomb. Mia and I exchanged a glance, and we entered John's office together. He looked up from his computer, a furrow of confusion crossing his brow. What's going on, ladies? I couldn't find the words. The truth felt too big, too overwhelming. Everything I had built, everything I loved could crumble right in front of me. We found something alarming in the accounts, I finally managed to say. Before I could continue, the door swung open. It was Jake, our head of accounting, his face twisted in anger. Clara, Mia, you need to stop with your accusations. You're disrupting the entire company. Accusations? My voice was shaky, but there was a fire inside me. We're trying to understand what's happening, not accuse anyone. That he stepped closer, his voice dripping with disdain. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're risking everything we've built. Despite my attempt to remain composed, I felt the walls closing in around me. My loyalty to my friends and my dedication to my work battled within me. Clara, please, John interjected, his expression tight with concern. Let's talk this through rather than jump to conclusions. But as Jake's eyes met mine, something unyielding passed between us. Was it guilt? Was it fear? My heart thundered loudly, drowning out my thoughts. When out of nowhere, the phone on John's desk rang insistently. That he picked it up, his brow furrowing further into confusion. Hello? Yes, this is John. Wait, what? You need to repeat that. I locked eyes with Mia. They mirrored my confusion and fear. What could be so urgent? John paled as he listened, his hands trembling slightly. My God, he said, dropping the phone as if had been scalded. What is it? Mia and I asked in unison, the air thick with tension. John swallowed hard, the urgency washing over his features. That was accounting. There's been a large sum transferred out of one of our main accounts. It just happened. A cold chill swept through the room, and dread filled every corner. We had no idea how deep this rabbit hole went, but one thing was clear, the Real storm was just beginning. I stared at John, my heart hammering against my chest as the implications of his words unfolded like a dark cloud. A large sum? How much? I forced the question, but the words caught in my throat, choking against the enormity of the situation. My mind raced, searching for answers in the chaos erupting around me. John retrieved the phone, his hands shaking as he cradled it like a fragile bird. They're checking the details now, but it's over $1 million, Clara. This can't be happening. Mia's hand found mine, squeezing tightly. I could feel her rising panic echoing my own, but we had to stay strong. Who did it? I asked, willing the answer not to be what I feared. John swept a glance at Jake, who stood rigid, his jaw clenched tight. We don't know yet. They're seeing if it could have been an inside job. The room felt like it was closing in on us, the walls squeezing tighter with each second of uncertainty. I could sense the accusation waiting to ignite. Suspicion hung in the air, thick and tangible, wrapping around us like a noose. Multiple eyes were scrutinizing each other, peeling back layers of trust that had already begun fraying at the edges. Jake's voice came out in a harsh rasp, cutting into the silence. You both need to stop pointing fingers and start thinking of how to fix this. If this leaks, it could ruin us. I'm not pointing fingers, Jake. I snapped back, anger rising like a wave within me. I'm trying to protect what we've built. You're acting as if you're not part of the problem. His expression hardened, but before he could retort, I turned to John, pleading with my eyes for him to act. It was apparent that if we were going to salvage anything, we would need a solid course of action. What do we do? He rubbed his temples, frustration etched into every line of his face. Let's focus on the numbers first. We need to verify that transfer, find out who had access to the accounts last, and a loud knock interrupted our frantic discussion, and the door swung open again. We all turned, and in stepped Sarah, our IT manager, her expression a mix of determination and apprehension. I heard what just happened. We need to talk about cybersecurity. I think we may have been compromised. The room fell silent, jaws dropping in unison, like a collective intake of breath. What do you mean compromised? My voice wavered, torn between hope and dread. Sarah took a step forward, the weight of her words hanging ominously in the air. Our systems are showing signs of unauthorized access. I received alerts this afternoon regarding unusual logins from an unknown external server. A heavy silence enveloped us as the implications sank in. You're saying someone outside Mia started, panic rising. Could have access to our accounts and internal communications. Sarah finished her thought, her eyes glistening with the gravity of the situation. I believe they might be feeding information to someone inside. We have to act quickly. Who can we trust? Jake murmured, his bravado slipping away as the gravity of betrayal loomed larger. The reality that friendly faces might hide dangerous intentions left an uneasy chill across my skin. In that moment, a glimmer of resilience sparked within me. We can't give in to fear. We need to find out who has access, set a trap if we must, and pin down the source of this corruption. But we have to do it quietly, I insisted, glancing at each of their faces. If there's someone on the inside, they could ruin everything for us. We need to stay one step ahead. The group fell into a rare, contemplative silence, the intensity of our shared fear uniting us, forcing us to focus. And still, doubt shadowed my resolve. Who would risk it all and for what? Who among us might harbor secrets darker than betrayal? Just as hope mingled with determination, my phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen, my heart stopping as I read a new message from an unknown number. I know what you're looking for. Meet me at the old warehouse at midnight. I have proof. A cold wave swept over me, and I dropped my phone. The world around me faded as dread gripped me tight. Who could it be? Was it a friend or a foe? With every beat of my heart, uncertainty spiraled deeper, leaving me questioning my every connection. Trust had always been my foundation, but now the very ground beneath my feet felt unsteady, tinged with suspicion and fear. Mia, we have to talk, I murmured, casting a glance back at the others, their eyes watching me like hawks, ready to pounce on any sign of weakness. Now. As the weight of the moment descended upon us, it was clear that whatever emotions arose in the next hours could irrevocably shape our destiny. The dim light flickered above as we huddled together away from prying eyes, my heart pounding with uncertainty. The urgency of the situation weighed heavily on us, but I felt an uncomfortable burden brewing in the pit of my stomach. Mia, come with me. We need to figure out what we're dealing with, I whispered, careful not to let anyone else overhear our conversation. We stepped outside into the cooler night air, but the chill was nothing compared to what loomed inside. I gazed at Mia, who looked smaller somehow, her usual lively spirit shrouded in concern. Clara, what should we do? This is crazy. She blurted, her voice trembling. That I don't know, I replied, forcing back my own rising anxiety. We need to trust each other, Mia. If we believe there's someone inside working against us, we have to take a calculated risk. Meet me at the warehouse, and let's see what's going on." Her eyes widened. "Are you sure that's a good idea? We don't know who this person is, or what they want. It might be a trap." Frustration welled within me, and I clenched my hands into fists. "I understand, but we can't let fear dictate our choices. If this is a chance to get answers, we have to take it." She hesitated, biting her lip. "Okay. But we need to be careful." Moments later, we made our way back in to face the group, determination concealed beneath a veneer of calm. I shared the details of the message, watching as suspicion rippled across their faces. Sarah's brow furrowed in concern. It could be a setup. If someone knows we're sniffing around, they could be trying to distract us. Jake crossed his arms, his expression a mixture of skepticism and reluctance. "I don't like it. But if we ignore this," his voice trailed off, the weight of unspoken consequences hanging in the air. "Do we even have a choice?" I responded, glancing at John. "We need to see if there's any truth to the lead. At this point, we can't afford to shy away from potential answers, no matter how shaky they are." John nodded, the fire of resolution igniting in his eyes. "Then let's do it. I'll come with you. We can't risk Mia being out there alone." "No," I said, feeling a sense of protectiveness rush over me. "You all need to stay here. If something goes wrong, I don't want the whole team exposed. Jake and Sarah watch everything. Keep your phones ready and don't hesitate to call for backup if anything feels off. This is about gathering intel, not engaging." The group's apprehension hung thick in the air, yet I could feel a small thread of solidarity weave through us as they acknowledged the need to trust my judgment. The clock ticked mercilessly as the hour approached. Mia and I glanced at one another, sharing a silent understanding, a promise that as terrifying as the situation was, we would face it together. We drove in silence, the familiar roads becoming increasingly alien under the weight of our collective worries. Each turn I took felt like a leap of faith into an unknown abyss. As we neared the warehouse, shadows elongated in the dim light. The rotting structure loomed before us, a relic of our city's heart, a testament to forgotten promises. "Are you ready?" I asked, anxiety coursing through my veins like hot electricity. Mia gave a small, shaky nod, and I took a deep breath, bolstered by her presence. As we stepped out of the car, the night echoed with silence, amplifying the pounding of my heart. Together, we approached the heavy doors, my hands trembling as I reached for the cold metal handle. With a creak, the door swung open, revealing a cavernous darkness that seemed to swallow the light. Warnings blared in my mind, but I pushed them aside, unwilling to succumb to fear. "Hello?" I called out hesitantly, my voice wavering but steady in its commitment. "I'm here." Silence reigned for a brief moment, and I felt the hairs on the back of my neck prickle. Suddenly, a figure stepped into the meager stream of light filtering through a broken window. My breath caught as recognition surged through me. It was Victor, our former accountant. He had left the company under questionable circumstances a few months back, leaving a trail of unresolved discrepancies and unanswered questions. "What are you doing here?" I demanded, confusion swirling within me as I fought against the instinct to retreat into the darkness. Victor's expression was unreadable, a mask of nonchalance, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of vulnerability. "I didn't think you'd come. I have information, things you need to know about the outgoing wire." "It doesn't have to end like this, Clara. What do you mean?" I pressed, feeling my stomach churn. He took a step closer, shadows playing across his features, making him seem both familiar and foreign at once. "I know who tried to frame you. The truth could unravel everything, but it's going to come at a cost." "What cost?" My voice trembled, knowing that his offer could lead us further into danger. Before he could answer, a noise echoed from the back of the warehouse, footsteps, heavier and more deliberate than my racing heart. I turned to Mia, panic etching her features. "We need to get out of here," I whispered urgently. But before we could move, a rough voice emerged from the shadows, sending shivers down my spine. "Thought you could find out without paying the price, did you?" As the figure stepped forward, my heart sank. It was Ethan, a former partner who had left our company under suspicion of misconduct. His gaze was steely, a malicious grin creeping across his face as he assessed us. "Let's have some fun, shall we?" I felt a chill wrap around my spine. The stakes had never felt higher, and fear seized my heart once more. What lay ahead could be my worst nightmare or the unraveling of an insidious truth. The air hung heavy with tension, a palpable dread that wrapped around me like a suffocating blanket. The glow of the moon bathed the room in a ghostly light, yet it felt more foreboding than serene. Ethan took a step closer, his silhouette morphing into something menacing under the stark shadows, and I clutched MIA's arm tightly, trying to summon strength in the face of my rising panic. "What are you doing here, Ethan?" I managed to ask, summoning defiance into my quivering voice. I needed to maintain control, even as my heart raced like a war drum in my chest. He chuckled, but there was no humor in that sound, only malice. "Trying to save you from a grave mistake, Clara. You have no idea what you're dabbling in." His gaze flicked towards Victor, and a storm of tension passed between them that I couldn't decipher. Victor shifted, the bravado crumbling slightly at the sight of Ethan. "You don't have to do this," he murmured, though his voice lacked confidence. "Just let them go, let them go." Ethan laughed, a sharp sound that echoed in the vast empty space of the warehouse. "Why would I do that when they're the keys to unraveling everything? You don't get to play hero here, Victor. You made your choices." Mia squeezed my hand, her eyes pleading for clarity. The fear reflected in her own gaze mirrored my own thoughts. Who could we trust? Beneath the shadows of betrayal, a flicker of realization ignited within me. "What do you think you're going to gain from all this, Ethan? If you think scaring us will bring you power, you're delusional." That he smirked, taking another calculated step closer, shadows concealing the glint of something metallic at his side. "Delusional? No. But I can assure you, Clara, that I'm merely forwarding my own agenda. You're not the first to seek answers, and you won't be the last. But unlike them," he gestured dismissively towards Victor, "you're not getting out of this unscathed." A sharp clang pierces the tense atmosphere as a metal pipe tumbled from a shelf above, crashing onto the floor near Ethan's feet. We all jolted in surprise, and I took the brief moment of distraction to pull Mia back. The chance to escape flickered before us, but Ethan's cold voice stopped me in my tracks. "Oh, no. You don't get to run." Staring into the depths of Ethan's eyes, I felt the grasp of fear tightening, but in that moment, clarity struck. If he didn't want us to escape, then we had leverage. "You think you're winning? Keeping us here isn't a victory. You want something, and I bet it's more than just the satisfaction of intimidation." Ethan's grin faltered slightly, curiosity replacing some of the malice. "Smart girl," he said, though the edge of it was still threatening. "But curiosity isn't going to save you." "Well, go to the authorities," I blurted out as the word seeped from my lips. "You know they won't take kindly to what you've done." His laughter filled the warehouse, a crooked echo of derision. "You really think they care? They're all in on it, Clara. You've barely scratched the surface of the web tangled around you." "What do you mean?" My voice wavered, anxiety washing over me like ice water, but before he could respond, Victor suddenly stepped forward, interjecting, "Clara, I didn't want to have to tell you like this, but we don't just need to be careful, we need to flee. Ethan knows everything, and he's not afraid to hurt anyone to keep his secret." Each revelation landed like shards of glass piercing my heart, igniting a tempest of emotions within me. Betrayal, fear, and something far more fragile, hope, began to rise amidst the chaos. "Anyone?" I echoed, horrified, feeling protective instincts flare for Mia. "What do you mean, Victor?" Ethan's smirk returned, arrogance fueling his demeanor. "Let's just say you've dabbled in matters far above you. The more you dig, the greater the risk. And I can assure you, Clara, the people you care about, they're all pawns in this game. And I hold all the pieces." Mia swung her gaze to me, desperation in her eyes. "Clara, we can't let him manipulate us. We need to leave now." I felt her fear grip me, thawing the icy fear that had settled around my heart. That harrowing moment, I realized that Ethan had sowed chaos among not just our team but also within ourselves. The camaraderie we had built was teetering on the brink, and our fragile trust became the fulcrum upon which everything turned. "Clara?" Victor's voice broke my focus, urgency woven throughout. "We have to go now." But as I stepped back with Mia, Ethan blocked our path. "Oh, I think it's time to reveal the final twist in this sordid tale," he said, a glee bubbling beneath his menacing tone. And it's a surprise you never expected. My breath hitched, dread building like a thunderstorm. What do you mean? Let's just say, the reason behind everything, the sabotage, the betrayal, it's all because of one person you trust implicitly. His laughter rang out, echoing through the warehouse. Fear spiraled inward, tightening its hold as I awaited the shattering of our fragile illusion of safety, the revelation that threatened to sever the last threads binding us to hope. What could he possibly know? What hidden secrets lurked behind our walls of trust, names etched in familiar warmth? Ethan leaned in, a sinister whisper spilling from his lips. You might want to sit down for this one, Clara. It's going to change everything. In that chilling moment, as the weight of his words loomed heavy, the fragile foundation of my world cracked beneath the pressure of an impending truth, the truth that echoed around me as loudly as my heartbeat. I recognized the spark of betrayal, and as darkness surrounded us, I could only wonder, would we ever see light again? Every heartbeat felt like a countdown, and my breath hitched in my throat as I gripped Mia's hand tighter, searching her face for a glimmer of reassurance that felt increasingly elusive. Reality twisted around us, thickening the air, and Ethan's words hung like haunted echoes, threatening to unearth the darkest secrets concealed beneath the surface of our lives. Just tell me, I urged, forcing my voice to remain steady even as waves of panic washed over me. What do you know that you think will change everything? Ethan tilted his head, enjoyment dancing in his eyes as if he reveled in our uncertainty. All of it's sabotage, the plans, the scheming. It all leads back to someone you've confided in, someone you trust inadequately, he taunted. And all it took was a single email to unravel it. Behind me, Victor's face paled. Ethan, you're lying, he retorted, though the confidence in his voice faltered, mingling with a hint of fear. You're trying to mess with her head, but Ethan merely chuckled, an unsettling sound that ricocheted off the walls. Am I? His gaze narrowed on me, a predator honing in on its prey. I wouldn't test me right now. I could easily enlighten you, but where's the fun in that? No, I think this is best discovered for yourself. That I stiffened, clenching my jaw to mask the tumult swirling within me. Not knowing who to trust felt like an anchor dragging me deeper into an abyss. You think I'll just accept your unsubstantiated claims? I won't play your games, Ethan. I tried to sound resolute, but inside, my heart raced with unease, urging me to uncover the truth before it consumed me. All I'm saying is this, the very last person you'd suspect is behind the curtain, pulling the strings, he replied, his voice oozing with satisfaction. As he continued his twisted performance, I felt the room close in on me, the shadows stretching like sinister fingers grasping for our sanity. My thoughts flickered back to the people around me, Mia, who had always stood by me, and Victor, whose motives now felt shrouded in obscurity. Did Ethan know something I didn't? Was someone among us betraying our trust? Mia's breath caught as if she sensed my hesitance. Clara, we can't let him play with our minds. We need to be smarter than shut up. Ethan barked, silencing her words with the intensity of his gaze. Let her figure it out. Because once that finally sinks in, the real chaos begins, he hissed, savoring the words like a fine wine. The air thickened with dread, my heart sinking as I considered Ethan's sinister insights. What if he was hinting at something undeniably a deception woven deep into our lives? I pulled Mia closer, her warmth a fragile tether grounding me against the looming darkness, a reminder that I had to protect her above all else. Get out of our way, Ethan, I managed, feeling flakes of boldness crack through the seemingly impenetrable exterior that fear had erected around me. Victor's eyes flicked between me and Ethan. He's dangerous, Clara. We need to move, now. He urged again, desperation creeping into his voice, yet, as I glanced toward the dimly lit exit, Ethan stepped between us and freedom, standing tall and unyielding, a dark sentinel of our fate. You really believe you can escape? He taunted, a predatory glint in his eye. See how far you can run until you realize you've always been inside a trap. No. Mia whispered, her voice trembling as she wilted beside me, and then, as if summoned by unseen forces, an unexpected sound broke the heavy tension, the crackling of static followed by the staccato of footsteps echoing behind us, disturbing the stagnance. I turned instinctively and saw a figure emerging from the Shadowsa silhouette stepping into the dim light, partially obscured but unmistakable. Stop where you are. The voice was authoritative, almost like a lifeline in this chaos, igniting a sliver of hope within me. Ethan, visibly startled, glanced from the newcomer to us, his composure faltering for the first time, and an uneasy silence fell in the wake of uncertainty, and then, the revelation came. As the figure stepped closer, the familiarity washed over me like icy water. Recognition gripped my heart, and in the blink of an eye, my gut twisted in disbelief. Jack? I choked out, confusion clouding my mind. What are you doing here? Ethan's face darkened as Jack, a figure from my past, someone whose loyalty I had questioned in the blur of chaos, responded with a knowing smirk. Looks like your dear friend Ethan has been keeping secrets, Clara. But don't worry, we've got a lot to discuss, and you might not like everything you hear. Terror gripped me as I stood on the precipice of two worlds colliding, past loyalties intertwining with the present, and the weight of the truth hung dangerously close. As Jack's gaze locked onto mine, I felt the icy grip of dread meld with the flicker of hope. A storm was brewing, and I could only wonder what new waves of betrayal awaited. Tension electrified the air, and with it, I sensed the unraveling of everything I thought I knew. In the depth of that moment, I realized that escaping Ethan was only the beginning. The true nightmare lay in the tangled web spun by those closest to me that threatened to swallow us whole. The air seemed to vibrate with the weight of unspoken truths as Jack stepped forward, forcing me to grapple with swirling emotions I thought I had tucked away forever. The adrenaline coursed through my veins, its cold rush striking every fear I held within me, and I instinctively tethered myself to MIA's reassuring warmth. Ethan's sardonic smile twisted into a venomous scowl as he processed Jack's presence. You think he can save you? He sneered, trying to dismiss the threat Jack posed. Your friend is a ghost, Clara, long gone. What he offers now is just a shadow of your past. Enough of this, Jack replied, his voice steady, betraying no fear. You're fighting a losing battle, Ethan. It's time for these lies to surface. He glanced at Mia, then back at me. Clara, I know you're scared. But I'm here to help, to protect you and uncover the truth behind all of this. Ethan scoffed, shaking his head, but I could see uncertainty creeping into his eyes. What do you know that I don't, Jack? This is my game, not yours. That I didn't dare look away from Jack. His presence had forced a sliver of hope into my heart. The ambiguity around him only compounded my anxiety. He represented a key to revelation, yet I felt another part of me recoil from his arrival, battling memories long buried. What do you mean by lies? I managed to ask, my voice vulnerable, caught between desperation and the instinct to shield myself from further pain. Jack's gaze softened. You've been led to believe that everything is a conspiracy, Clara, but it's deeper than that. Ethan is telling you half-truths to manipulate you. Someone is indeed orchestrating events behind the scenes, just like he said, but it's more than sabotage. It's betrayal from someone you trust. That a knot twisted tighter within me. Betrayal? The shadows of doubt wrapped themselves around the familiar faces of my colleagues, leaving me reeling. Who? I breathed, my words barely forming as I braced for an answer that could fracture everything I believed. That moment, a flicker of movement from the side caught my attention. Victor, a man I thought I understood, someone who always seemed to have my back, shifted uncomfortably, his glance darting as he processed what was happening. Jack, if you're trying to play mind games too, he began, his words heavy with apprehension, but Jack waved him off. This is not a game, Victor. This is about Clara's safety and revealing the truth. He took a step closer, his voice urgent. We've got to get you out of here, Clara. Ethan's right, the real trap is just around the corner. Ethan's facade cracked further as he reacted fiercely, stepping forward, a dangerous glint in his eye. Shut up. You don't know what you're getting into, he hurled, temper boiling, the fury in his veins spilling over. The tension was a taut string ready to snap, and my heart raced, torn between fighting and fleeing. What did Jack know? Was his return a blessing or a curse? Clara, trust me, Jack pressed, his eyes earnest. This situation is worse than you think. There's a hidden agenda affecting more than just your company. People have been monitoring you, and they're still watching. My breath caught in my throat, the realization spiraling outwards like ripples through water. They? Who were they? I turned to Mia, searching for clarity in her eyes, only to find her expression mirroring the confusion knotted within me. No, we need to stick together, Victor implored, his voice a thin veil over the rising dread crowding the room. We can take him. We need to confront him now, but my instinct screamed Ethan was no longer just an adversary. He had friends in high places, a network that I could hardly fathom. Behind every desk, every wall danger lurked, secret simmered, and danger loomed. Clara. Jack's voice broke through my hazy thoughts. You can't trust everyone. Not even Victor. Just because he's here doesn't mean he's on your side. Panic clawed at my throat, and I wheeled to face Victor, his startled expression etched with confusion. You're lying. I shouted, feeling betrayal bubble beneath my skin. You've always been there. What do you know? The words hung in the air, charged and threatening, and silence enveloped us as if the room had taken a collective breath. Victor's eyes flickered, processing my accusation, but instead of the defensive reaction I expected, he took a faltering step back. Clara, I'm not involved in this, I promise you. Enough with the games. Ethan spat, his voice dripping with contempt. The truth is out there, and it's going to come crashing down on all of you. My pulse quickened, as Jack moved to intercept Ethan, but I couldn't shake the gnawing realization that in a battle for trust and allegiance, the victor would claim not just the truth but everything, perhaps even my very peace of mind. And just when I thought the walls were closing in, I heard a faint vibration coming from my pocket, disrupting the heated atmosphere. Hesitantly, I fished out my phone, the screen lighting up as an unknown number flashed before me. Answer it, Jack urged, his demeanor shifting into one of tension as he shifted his gaze toward Ethan. It might be important. Holding my breath, I slid my finger across the screen, answering the call. Hello, a quiet voice whispered through the line, shaky but familiar. Clara, I know everything. You need to listen to me and to Jack. Trust him, please. There's more happening than you understand. The connection broke then, my heart racing, and I was left trembling as I glanced at Jack. His expression was a mixture of urgency and heartbreak. The disquiet of uncertainty encroached once more. Who was this stranger on the phone? And why did they seem to know so much? As the weight of confusion layered upon itself, I realized we were spiraling deeper into unknown territory, the edges of my once knowing life fraying into darkness. With Jack and Mia as my only anchors, I stood amidst a tempest, knowing that the truth was about to unravel, but at what cost? The tension in the air was palpable. Each breath I took felt weighed down by the uncertainty spiraling within me. I clutched my phone tightly, my knuckles white against its screen, and stared at Jack, searching for answers that my heart couldn't quite articulate. Who was that? I managed to ask, my voice trembling as the reality of our situation spiraled further out of control. Jack's expression deepened with concern as he weighed his words. I can't be sure, but it sounded like someone who knows about the conspiracy. They're reaching out because they care about your safety. Care? I scoffed, the bitterness stinging my lips. How can we even trust whoever that was? For all we know, it could be another one of Ethan's mind games. Ethan's face broke into a sardonic grin, a smug confidence radiating from him as if he reveled in our disarray. I told you, Clara, delusion plays a dangerous game, he jeered, his eyes gleaming with malicious anticipation. You're going to regret ever setting foot near Jack again. He's just leading you further into the abyss. Shut up. Mia yelled, stepping in front of me, her eyes fierce. You don't get to dictate what Clara does or who she chooses to trust. This isn't just a game for us, this is her life. And you're the one who's going to lose. Ethan's expression flickered for a moment, a crack in his poised facade, but it vanished quickly, replaced by cold calculation. Loyalty is a double-edged sword, he remarked, almost nonchalantly. But soon you'll see it for what it is, a liability. That I swallowed hard, realizing the precarious nature of my situation. A sudden wave of nausea washed over me, each heartbeat a reminder that the ground beneath my feet was crumbling. What do you mean? I dared to ask, my voice weaker than I intended. Jack shifted forward, his gaze intense as he turned to me. Clara, you need to listen. There are people in your company who are using you to further their own ambitions. They might be friendly faces, but they're not on your side. Mia, I turned to her, desperation spilling from my eyes. What if Jack is right? What if I can't trust anyone? What if they're all playing a part? Mia's hand found mine, squeezing it tightly like a lifebuoy amidst an ocean of doubts. We'll figure it out together. No matter what, I'm with you. We'll find the truth. A slight smile flickered on my lips, kindled by her loyalty, but it quickly dimmed under the weight of my fears. But can we? I whispered. What if this call was a false hope? Just then, Jack took a slow, deliberate breath, channeling his resolve into clarity. We don't have the luxury of hindsight. We need to act quickly before this all spirals beyond our control. Act? The uncertainty laced my words, and I felt pulled in 1,000 directions, each one equally terrifying. What's our next step? Do you have a plan? Jack nodded. We need to find out who that caller is. They might have the answers we're missing. You have to let me handle it, but I can't do it without your trust. The weight of his request coiled around my chest. I don't know if I can do that, I admitted, the vulnerability of my admission hanging heavily in the charged atmosphere. Ethan smirked, relishing my hesitation. It's funny how you're caught in this web, Clara. The more you struggle, the tighter it wraps around you. Jack or not, you're outmatched. You think you're safe, but you're merely a pawn. My heart raced as I avoided his piercing stare, my focus shifting back to Jack. His eyes held a depth of understanding, knew the grave stakes as well as I did. The truth began to settle like a heavy fog in my mind. Ethan wasn't simply an opponent. He had tangled himself into the very fabric of my life. Just as I decided to speak, my phone buzzed again, its shrill tones shattering the momentary silence. A text notification blinked on the screen, my heart leaping into my throat as I read the sender's name. Unknown, Clara, Jack said, his voice barely a whisper. Look at it. Trembling fingers, guided by instinct, opened the message. If you want to know the truth, meet me at the old archives at midnight. Come alone. A surge of panic shot through me. No, I gasped, shaking my head vigorously. I can't go there alone. Jack's expression hardened. Clara, whoever sent this could be connected to everything. We have to take the risk, but what if it's a trap? What if they want to hurt you? The thought chilled me, fraying the little courage I had left. Then I'll go with you. You're not facing this alone, he vowed, his voice resolute, but a shadow of concern rippled beneath his bravado, yet beneath his protective assurance, doubt bubbled in my gut, like a storm waiting to erupt. I was standing at a precipice, the wind howling, urging me to leap into a darkened abyss of shattered trust and potential betrayal, and just as a sliver of resolve began to fortify, I witnessed a flicker of recognition in Ethan's eyes, a sinister glimmer that ignited an unsettling feeling in the pit of my stomach. Midnight, Ethan smirked, his voice dripping with malevolence. You might want to reconsider if you truly want to unravel what's hidden underneath your fragile little life. The haunting tone of his voice echoed in my mind as fear took root in the depths of my heart. Facing a choice suffused with uncertainty, I felt the floor slip beneath my feet, propelling me further into a storm I could not outrun, and as the clock slowly ticked towards midnight, I realized that one choice could open the door to newfound truths or plunge me further into darkness. The clock on the wall ticked ominously as I paced back and forth, my mind a tempest of anxiety and confusion. What are we even doing? I questioned out loud, absorbing the gravity of the choice that loomed before me. Every step I took seemed to echo the weight of the decisions that lay ahead. MIA's presence steadied me somehow. Clara, listen to me. We can't let fear dictate our choices. At the very least, you'll know what you're up against. She stood strong, her eyes burning with resolve, emitting a warmth that was both grounding and comforting. My heart swelled with appreciation for her unwavering support. Even as doubts festered within me, Jack remained focused, his eyes darting to the window where shadows danced outside, hinting at the night lurking under the veil of darkness. Whoever this person is, they seem to provide a glimpse of hope. A potential ally, he stated, his voice laced with determination. We need to approach this cautiously. I paused, taking a deep breath. But we have no idea who they really are or what they want. What if it's Ethan manipulating everything behind the scenes? My voice trembled, revealing the fear I could hardly contain. It could be a trap, but it could also be our chance for clarity, Jack replied, his gaze steady. We won't know unless we take the risk. And if we go together we still might not be safe, I interrupted, the panic rising again. What if they target you instead? Jack stepped closer, his intensity wrapping around us like a fortress. Clara, I'm willing to take the risk. I won't stand by while you square off against this threat alone. A wave of warmth swept over me, halting the spiral of fear. Just knowing he cared enough to face danger alongside me gave me the strength to push through the enveloping shadows. Mia, what do you think? I asked, finding solace in her presence, her steady hand wrapped around mine. She met my gaze and sighed. Whatever you decide, I'll be here. But I also trust Jack. We need to confront whatever is lurking in the dark. I took a moment to soak in the enormity of their unwavering loyalty. Slowly, I nodded, my heart slipping into a delicate balance between risk and hope. Okay, I whispered, steadying my resolve. Let's do this. As we prepared to leave, my phone buzzed again. I glanced down, a painful jolt racing through me as I recognized the name of the sender, Ethan. What now? Jack asked, stepping in closer, his presence a shield against my spiraling thoughts. My hand trembled as I opened the message, my heart racing as I read the text. You're walking right into a trap, Clara. Abandon this path, or the cost will be your freedom. The icy grip of terror seized my chest. He knows, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. He knows what we're planning. He's trying to scare you, Mia added quickly. Don't let him. Or it might mean we're onto something, Jack suggested, his expression thoughtful. It's a double-edged sword. We have to be more vigilant. Suddenly, the room felt smaller, the air thickening as the enormity of my situation encroached. What if he really is right? What if it is a trap? Clara, think about it. If he wanted to keep you hidden or safe, he wouldn't be taunting you like this, Jack said, pulling me into the heart of the moment, grounding me. Just then, the lights flickered. For a brief moment, darkness enveloped us, swathing us in uncertainty. The haunting silence was shattered by the shrill sound of my phone. It vibrated wildly in my hand, drawing my attention once more. This time, the screen displayed a video call unfamiliar yet compelling. Anxiety surged, but something deep within urged me to answer. I pressed the button, the image coming to life. A shadowy figure appeared, their face indistinguishable against the dim light. Clara, the voice crackled through, smooth yet laced with urgency, you need to leave now. They're coming for you. What? I gasped, uncertainty overwhelming me as I felt Jack and Mia draw closer, their eyes wide with shock. No time. Trust no one, Clara. Not even the people standing beside you. The call abruptly ended, leaving silence in its wake and a gaping maw of dread in my gut. I stood frozen, unable to comprehend the magnitude of the warning I had just received. It's all falling apart, I murmured, fear threading itself into my voice. I don't know who to trust anymore. Mia squeezed my hand more firmly, her eyes filled with a fierce determination. We'll find a way through. Whatever comes, we face it together. But with that shadowy figure's words lingering in my mind, an urgent realization settled into my heart. Trust had become a dangerous game, riddled with unknown motives and hidden agendas. As we prepared to leave, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a much darker journey. With the clock ticking ever nearer to midnight, the balance of fear and hope teetered on the edge, propelling us forward, yet suffocating every breath we took. The threshold we stood on would lead us into the unknown, a path woven with betrayal, truth, and the heart-stopping prospect of uncovering the conspiracy that threatened to engulf us all. The cold steel door of the old archives creaked open, revealing the familiar scent of aged paper and forgotten memories. The darkness inside loomed like a beast waiting to pounce, but as Jack, Mia, and I stepped in, anxiety morphed into an unyielding sense of purpose. The air crackled with tension, the overwhelming echoes of uncertainty surrounding us like a shroud. Stay close, Jack murmured, his voice low yet commanding, as if we were stepping into the heart of danger itself. My gaze flitted to Mia, whose grip on my hand was a small but steady reminder that I was not alone. Together, we forged a fragile yet resolute alliance, moving deeper into the shadows, each step echoed in the silence, a countdown to the reveal we desperately sought. I could feel my heart race at the thought of confrontation. What if the message had been a trap? What did the shadowy figure want from me? Without any sense of who could be trusted, the burden weighed heavier. The room opened up into a cavernous space, dimly lit by flickering fluorescent lights that buzzed uneasily overhead. Stacks of boxes created a labyrinth that stretched ahead, and I sensed the weight of the past driving my anxiety higher. Here lay remnants of history, but within this chaos, we needed clarity. Do you really think this is the place? Mia whispered, her voice carrying apprehension. It has to be. It's the only lead we have, I whispered back, forcing breath into my lungs, while my gut churned with doubt. Just as I responded, a figure emerged from the shadows, draped in darkness and menace, stepping into the flicker of light in a way that made the air freeze. Glad you could make it, the figure spoke, voice smooth but cold. Who are you? I demanded, resolve threading through my fear. I'm the one who can help, the stranger replied, pushing back the hood concealing their face. My breath caught as reality began to unravel, their identity unveiled in the light, jagged edges of familiarity cutting through my heart. It was Sarah, the IT manager, her eyes wide with unshed emotion. Sarah? What are you doing here? I gasped, a whirlwind of disbelief spiraling within me. The memory of our partnership rushed forward, all the moments I entrusted her with the integrity of our systems, but now her presence felt like salt in an unhealed wound that I never wanted it to come to this. Her voice cracked, evidence of the weight on her shoulders. But I had to protect you, Clara. To set things right. Protect me? I echoed, disbelief mingling with anger. How could you protect me while lying to my face? I had no choice. When I found out about the plans, the betrayal, Jack stepped closer, eyes narrowing. What plans? What betrayal? I uncovered the existence of a hidden network within our system. People within the company have been selling our information, trading trust for wealth, and Ethan? He's just the surface of a much larger scheme. I'm so sorry, Clara. Reality crashed around me, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place amid revelations. My heart raced, oscillating between fury and agony, when suddenly the weight of understanding settled next to the fear. So, it was you who sent the message? I asked, trying to comprehend the onslaught of her choices. I thought it was the only way to get you away from the danger, she confessed, her voice trembling. I wanted you to know the truth, but I didn't know how to say it without revealing my involvement. I need your forgiveness now. There it was, the crucial moment that twisted between desperation and vulnerability, and I felt the flickering specter of compassion rise within me. Forgive you? My voice wavered, yet the sadness in her eyes pulled at my heart. You've hurt me, Sarah. You betrayed me. I didn't have a choice. She pleaded, her eyes shimmering with tears. Curiosity piqued, and a longing bubbled beneath my irea desire to know why. What did they promise you? I thought I could save the company from the inside, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. But I only brought ruin. I'm so sorry. I cannot let this shadow play out anymore. Before I could respond, the shadowy figure of Ethan reappeared, his grin beckoning chaos. Well, isn't this a reunion of the confused and helpless? Clara, you can't seriously believe anything she says. She's just trying to save her skin, he taunted, venom twisting every word. The truth cut deeper than I anticipated, assaulting my heart with confusion. Ethan, you're the one behind all of this, aren't you? I breathed, my voice trembling with realization. You've been manipulating the entire team against each other. Fear is a powerful motivator, he smirked, each syllable dripping with malice. And as long as there's doubt, I win, fury ignited within me, burning through the uncertainty. This wasn't just about betrayal, Anna Marie, it was a fight for our very lives, our trust, our truth. No more. I gritted my teeth, my heart pounding in sync with unwavering determination. Let's end this, Jack interjected, stepping forward alongside me, lending me his strength. His fierce resolve was palpable, charged with the promise of reinforcement. But just then, chaos erupted around us, flashes of light flickering like lightning, a cacophony of shouts and phantom whispers drowning my sense of clarity. Sarah's voice cut through the darkness. "Clara. We can stop him, but you have to trust me." In that instant, I felt the fragile threads of trust weaving through my heart, a raw desperation for truth mingled with the sorrow of betrayal. But ultimately, it was a choice woven with hope. "If I trust you, will you truly fight for our team? To protect what we've built?" I asked, feeling all eyes on me, trapped within the storm of entangled loyalties. "That I will," she pledged, her eyes shining with fierce determination. "You have my word, then let's shatter this illusion together," I said. Our collective hearts pounded in unison, a rhythm forged from anguish and tenacity. In that transformed moment, we faced the shadows bearing down upon USA, convergence of past betrayals and the ambitious hope of a united front. No more fear, no more manipulation. We would reveal the truth, fight back against the darkness festering in our own lives. Ethan smirked, but uncertainty flickered behind his gaze. Suddenly, it felt as though we weren't just pawns, we were players wielding power, stepping into the light of truth. With fire in our hearts, we moved as one united front with purpose. "Now," I declared, feeling the energy shift around us, "let's bring the real chaos to the surface." Ethan's laughter faded into confusion as our resolve fired upon, voices rising, united against the impending shadows. But I could feel the storm brewing, an inevitable collision with the truths buried deep in the fabric of our lives, and as I prepared to confront the darkness with my newfound strength, I felt an exhilarating weight lift from my chest, the kind adorned with the bittersweet promise of freedom, of a new beginning. "Together, we've got this," I murmured, relishing the weight of support as hope flickered between us. As the flickers of truth ignited in the depths of darkness, I held on to the thought, we might not know what awaited, but we would fight. Because in the heart of turmoil, forgiveness became our power. Together, we would emerge as the architects of our own fate. "Let's face this storm together." And in that moment, standing amidst the realization of our shared light, I knew we wouldn't let the shadows reclaim us.